let me see your hands. Burger, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, Burgundy Shark, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground.
In South Carolina, that man in the white shirt and his disabled cousin behind him in red have every right to be terrified.
On the ground.
The Orangeburg police officer
Get on the ground.
is on a power trip.
Do you not listen? Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. There's a gun behind me.
Why did you stop my head for? Said the victim, Clarence Gilliard. Indeed, Officer Dukes did just stomp on him.
A gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun, nothing.
Put your hands behind your back. Is there a gun back there?
Ain't no gun.
By that truck.
Ain't no gun.
You're not listening, dude.
In this July 2021 incident with Officer David Lance Dukes, Orangeburg police had received a call about a man knocking loudly on a door carrying a gun.
Bro, you got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun. I
I'm
don't
just
own no gun. I don't
Turn
own
back over. Paul, do you watch him say? He had something.
I ain't own no gun.
The door's unlocked, it's not always so.
No, he was right here. Watch him. Go watch him. There it is.
I don't own no gun.
All right, that's what he had.
But that's not a gun. It looks like a makeshift tire changing tool.
All right, who's the complainant? All right, get him up.
Put your leg up.
25 City got one tank.
Alright. Put your leg that way so you
I'm
can stand
confused.
up.
All right, listen. I'm about to help you. Hold on. Hold on. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head
Listen.
down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
I got head drummer.
Go back in the house.
Yep. Y'all bust my head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yep. Y'all bust my head down. You threw me down.
I sure did. You wasn't listening.
Yep. No, it ain't. You ain't to throw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got.
As Mr. Gilliard talks about his injury, watch as the black officer on the right, Sergeant Polidor, mentions to another officer that they should step away and chat.
Yep. You bust my head down on the cement. Yep. You bust my head.
All right, let me tell you what happened.
His forehead.
You bust my head down on the cement.
He was in front of the car when I came up. And he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Had him at gunpoint. And he's over here doing something like this.
You slammed my head. You slammed my
What
head
he was doing is
down
putting
on
this up behind the
cement.
tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets. I'm telling him, let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your
Why you
hands.
bust my head then?
He wasn't listening.
No, it ain't.
He got the, like this right here.
You grabbed me.
And we went onto the
and
ground.
then you bust my head down
That's what
on the cement.
Officer Dukes just told the officers he believed Gilliard had a gun and repeatedly told him to drop it. Dukes also alleged that when Mr. Gilliard stepped in front of the vehicle, he had his hands in his pockets and repeatedly ignored requests to show his hands. However, the body camera footage shows Mr. Gilliard had his hands above his head. And while Officer Dukes repeatedly asked him to get on the ground, he never asked Gilliard to drop a gun or show his hands, probably because Mr. Gilliard's hands were visible throughout the entire encounter.
You bust my
Yeah,
forehead.
your head did hit the cement.
Damn right, because you bust me down on the cement.
Where's the complainant?
You bust my head down on the cement.
Right here?
You bust my head. You bust my head.
Where's the complainant?
Bust my head down.
I'm trying to get the name of the complainant.
You
So,
bust my head. You bust my head down on the cement. If you ain't nobody who got no.
Moments later, after going through the items in Mr. Gilliard's pockets, Officer Dukes hears from another cop that nobody wants to press any charges.
Ain't nobody.
There ain't nothing about here want to press charges on us.
Who called?
I'm not sure.
take him out of cuffs right now. I mean, because that's what we got.
You have to use your force.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Slam my head down.
Dude, I didn't know what his intention
Use
was.
the force.
That was a pinky high five of sorts while the white officer told Dukes to look at the body camera.
Use
what?
the force. You need to look at the camera.
The officer did wrong. Slam my head down. Bust my forehead. Damn right. You gonna pay me for that
Mayor, I'm gonna take that into evidence of what he had.
What?
Well, I mean, you know, that's the reasons I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from.
No gun or nothing.
Because when he was behind the truck, I couldn't see what he was doing, and I didn't know where
There ain't nothing there.
that went. If it was still in his pockets when he come around that car with his hands in his pockets.
But again, the issue was Officer Dukes' use of force when Mr. Gilliard was already on his hands and knees surrendering.
Get on the ground!
As other officers noted in their reports, Officer Dukes stomped the man's head into the pavement.
On camera.
Yeah, a dog
Alright, that's
stick.
fine.
A dog stick.
So he can come out of cuffs?
The police took Mr. Gilliard out of handcuffs.
Yeah, he can come out.
Then one officer photographed the injury to the man's forehead. That woman officer handed back Officer Dukes his cuffs. An EMT then stepped forward.
Hi. Good, how are you? What's going on?
Officer slammed my forehead down in the cement.
As Mr. Gilliard described what happened, his cousin in the white t-shirt approached Officer Dukes.
Listen.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one now. We don't have
What's your
they
badge
don't
number?
give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
They don't give us cards. And that was a lie, as Sergeant Polidor points out.
Let me see if I can get my phone. Hold on.
Hold on, we have cards.
I didn't get it.
All right,
Okay.
it's in the blood test. Okay.
Thank
Like
you.
go to hospital?
Yeah.
All right. Call me.
Brandon, he can get this stuff off the car.
Sergeant Polidor gives the man Officer Dukes' full name and badge number.
Please say badge number.
1059.
Just 2 days later, the Orangeburg, South Carolina Police Department fired Officer David Lance Dukes. 2 weeks after that, following interviews with other police and witnesses, prosecutors announced they were charging David Dukes with assault. A few days after that, local news reporters obtained documents showing the former Orangeburg DPS officer charged for the use of force incident was previously fired from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. The personnel document said Dukes had created a hostile work environment and that his attitude was destructive. In other words, even before David Lance Dukes became a police officer in Orangeburg, South Carolina, it was clear that he was trouble. Nonetheless, kudos to the Orangeburg Police Department for acting so quickly after Mr. Dukes assaulted Clarence Gilliard. Kudos also to Sergeant Polidor and other officers who were willing to tell the truth about this incident and provided Mr. Gilliard's family the information they needed to follow up. One can only imagine the role that Sergeant Polidor's incident report played in causing her city to fire and charge David Dukes. Officers who witness police misconduct are often placed in a position where their honest reporting about a colleague jeopardizes their own career. Indeed, it is not unusual to see law enforcement justify the violent actions of their peers. But Sergeant Polidor showed courage and integrity and helped to hold Mr. Dukes accountable. Recently, the city of Orangeburg settled with Mr. Dukes' victim, Clarence Gilliard. The city paid him $650,000 to avoid a potential lawsuit. The money is coming from the city's insurance carrier. Let me be clear. When police respond to reports about somebody with a gun, it's understandable if law enforcement officers are nervous. But when a human being, regardless of their race or gender, has their hands up and goes on their knees to surrender to police, kicking that person is despicable. And it's a crime. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.